Welcome, everyone. It's time to get live, to get loud, to get happy. It's the middle of the week, and you know what? It's the downhill run here for the Players League. I'm Hail Monkey Man in the booth, not with Bear. He's hanging out with the fam today, as they had an awesome birthday they're going to get to. So I have been given the lovely courtesy, as well as moment, to hang out with someone that I've been hanging out with at least a few separate times before. It's your boy Q, coming in here for the Players League. Q, how was your Wednesday evening? Thank you for joining us. How you feeling this week, man?
Oh, what it do, man? I'm feeling good. You mentioned it's the middle of the week. We get to get into some good old Madden action here in just a moment as well. Something I don't get to get my hands on too often, so I'm excited to get down into that. It sounds like we're kind of getting ready to head down the home stretch where like every game does matter. So I always feel like that's the best time to really kind of get to watch and see who's got the ice in the veins and who's going to be able to secure themselves up some big dubs.
Yeah, this has honestly been a heck of a month. In case you guys did not know, yes, we are 4 weeks in. Lots of Madden, lots of STEM, but maybe some of you are brand new to it. So let's roll you into it as we are bringing you action from week 4 of an 8-week season here of Players League. The format, we got 4 regions. You got Green Bay, you got Houston, you got Carolina, you got New England. I've heard from a little bird that maybe Q loves the Green Bay region just a little bit more than the rest. But we've got 2 schools in each of these different regions, and from these divisions, they're playing through all their Madden matches, and the 2 teams per region will try to face off and have the best teams coming out of it to ultimately go down that long stretch. Maybe I spoke too soon. Q, a little bit of love across these regions. Who's your favorite across?
Yeah, so I do know that you wanted to mention it. I am a big Minnesota Vikings fan.
Okay.
I do hate to be the spoiler. I do have to say, over the last couple years, a small little bit of my heart has had to go towards the Packers. My father recently moved into the Wisconsin area, and he's never been a Vikings fan, but as I've seen him get to appreciate the Packers, if it makes him happy, I'm happy, I suppose.
Just the tiniest of wars between family members when you meet up when they have to play in the NFC North. I feel it. You know what?
I think it's because he was tired of losing the Minnesota-Detroit rivalry for for all these years as a Michigan born and raised kid. So I'll let him have a couple, you know?
Yeah, I think everyone else is like, as long as the Bears ain't winning, everyone else is happy kind of thing. Well, you guys will be winning with us as we get to see a lot of awesome action tonight. But I got to give some love over to one of our awesome partners here, and that's Brightspeed. This entire thing presented by both Stay Plugged In as well as Brightspeed Fiber Internet. They have been put on quite the partnership here with Stay Plugged In and the Players League. The first of, and so as we get all of you kind of invested, it's all about the internet and it's all about the connections. Brightspeed Fiber Internet is here with those ultra fast speeds for all your streaming and all of your gaming and all of your work needs. I mean, we both use it all the time, and so why don't you guys for your internet needs? No more dead zones and just reliable coverage everywhere in your home. And make sure, if you want to be able to check it out, if it's available in your area, hit up !Brightspeed in the chat, as well as hit them up online. And Q, I mean, let's talk about the importance of this. You and I literally would never know each other if it weren't for internet. So how important is it to be able to have that high speed guaranteed your way?
I mean, especially depending on what you do, but I know for a lot of our gamers out there, it's super huge, especially when you talk about the type of work that you and I do, streaming and everything. There for a while, actually, at my old place, after there was a big storm that knocked out some huge lines, I had some really spotty internet for a couple of months, and let me tell you, not a fun place to be in. So when you can find yourself, especially when you talk about that fiber, that good up and down speed, you gotta appreciate it.
You very much do. And of course, again, it's exclamation point Brightspeed in the chat will be able to guide you the right way. And of course, I think that you and I have a few producers we've worked with a couple Pennsylvania groups up there that actually use Brightspeed. Yep. So a lot of good anecdotes. It's been a lot of love all towards solid connections. But let's shift where our love is going. Awesome partners that have making this possible, but it's a two-headed hydra between the esports side and the STEM side. So we're 4 weeks in to total STEM competition, and the Players League is providing that opportunity to learn tangible skills in marketing and content creation, and of course, gaining that experience. So for the first 3 weeks here, Q, these students, they have been learning how to be able to create a Brightspeed commercial. Goes well with the partnership that's happening right here, and so they're trying to be able to make they've been shown examples, rather, of all the commercials and content, kind of getting an idea of how they want to work some storyboards, and then ultimately, they've had to write scripts, and they're getting their camera shots. They're making all that possible over these last 3 weeks. I mean, it feels like this, as this is a semester-long project, they're going to get some really big value out of this. How important is kind of STEM, that totality, really getting the understanding of a whole project instead of just kind of a little snippet? Feels like it's real good for real-world application.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the big thing is the real-world application, right? You get to kind of dig into, I think especially when you talk about those STEM programs, it's usually kids who have that little extra knack, that little extra passion, and you get to kind of really kind of dig into where you have the most fun. And I remember actually had a cousin that went to a STEM program, and it's just to see that transition into the real world and to kind of already be that like a step ahead of the rest. You mentioned getting some big hands-on experience just so at such a young age. You really can't beat it.
You can't. They've gotten to be able to work off of how can we make a commercial,
right.
And then they have also been adapting and doing it with new world applications. Sometimes you used to have like one of those old school cameras, you know, the ones that your parents would, or at least our parents had to strap around their hand and they'd have to pop out the back lens. I think that's still used, but now they're using it with their phone because these things right here, they're actually really darn powerful. So seeing what they can do for great camera shots and angles and taking that raw footage, and they're going to be editing it to be able to match their storyboards. And the coolest part, now that we're midway through here, Q, is that we will have a STEM broadcast coming up this Friday. It will be on this Stay Plugged In Twitch channel, so make sure to tune in. It's at 5:15 p.m. We're gonna have some live looks into what's going on and getting ready for all of that. And make sure, if you want to be kind of in the know without having to stress too much about it, hit the bell, hit the follow, hit whatever is able to get all your electronics synced in here on Twitch and YouTube for Stay Plugged In. So, you know, we've had some good looks. For these semester-long type projects, they're getting all that experience. Have you ever had to go through such a long project before yourself? Like, I feel like I had one at one point when I was like, what, sixth grade? I made Stonehenge, and that was just me hoping the clay would dry right. You ever go through something that long?
I've had some of those longer programs, those longer like sort of projects for sure. Admittedly, it's been a few years, so I can't remember exactly what it was. But I think the big thing is when you have things like that, it also shows how it's putting together projects piece by piece and being able to understand like the broader vision as well as the short-term vision. So I always love kind of seeing how those things develop over time. You mentioned 4 weeks in now. Now every week from here, it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, and they're going to be refining those projects.
Yeah.
So you guys definitely need to check it out this Friday. That is what, a day before my birthday. So just put that on your calendar for next year as well. It's gonna be Friday, the 21st of March, 5:15 p.m. Do not miss it. It'll be right here on all the channels you're currently watching here for the Players League. But a lot of love over to Stay Plugged In, because they're the ones that have been able to connect all of these students and more. But if you want to be able to connect with that next level of recruitment, be it with esports or otherwise, why don't you check them out? Because Stay Plugged In is the leading esports recruiting platform in the country. And creating an account and competing in showcases like we've gotten in Stay Plugged In before is just so easy to do. A free account will allow you to search for colleges and get that esports brand as well as your profile available to recruiters. You can gain competitive experience by competing in all of what Stay Plugged In is putting out there for you, much like what we got with Players League. It's an unstoppable thing to be able to put together your plan. You get the profile, you have the ability to be able to narrow down with recruitment, and it just makes life easy. So how about you visit staypluggedin.com. That is staypluggedin.com to start your esports collegiate journey today. And just like what some of those big journeys happening with collegiate, they also start in high school, but they also start with some big boosters. How about we spin it over to Emerge? And I'm gonna toss one up for you, because in the esports landscape, it is difficult sometimes to get some cool swag and some cool looks, but Emerge makes it easy for owners and directors. How important is it to you, Q, for having the ability, like think like PTA, think booster clubs, having products that really shape an identity for some of these big programs?
It helps you build a culture for sure when you talk about building the support around a program. And especially when you talk about being able to like distribute it out, when you talk about, you know, for example, like extended family and things like that, you don't have to worry about the hands-on like participation in the product. You don't have to worry about having like the products in hand stacked away, and whether it's like the spare room in the house or out in the garage, you know what I mean? Everything is handled for you by the distributor, and it allows you to, you mentioned it, still kind of build that identity and build that support line.
It's huge. I mean, and you also get that 50% cut that comes from that online storefront. So if you guys want to be able to check that out, all you got to go is emergeapparel.gg. That's emergeapparel.gg. And you can start creating all that custom esports shop today. And you can get grandma decked out and, you know, whatever the coolest esports gear, you know, put like a little Pokemon on it or something, whichever you got. But as much as we're going to be throwing maybe balls at little creatures that can become our friends, how about we just throw balls out onto the gridiron, because it's 6 o'clock block time, baby. It's Madden Central. And, you know, Q, we've got a few matches tonight. How about you line them up and hand them off over to our awesome viewers?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how we break things down. We've got Colin versus It's Tux Bear here. Of course, our Green Bay South High School player over here sitting at 1-1. Meanwhile, it's Tux Bear 2-2. I feel like this is going to be a big challenge as far as for Colin coming in. You can see on the right side for It's Tux Bear really been lighting up the scoreboard, Monkey Man.
Oh, yeah, they've been bringing a bazillion points all the way across. And I feel like Colin has had some very close games. Tux Bear has had to go down to the wire. They obviously have a lot accumulated in total points, and it's because they've faced several foes, but Tux Bear has not always come out on top. So as they keep it close, we'll get to see if this even 500 matchup actually does kind of become a massive showcase. We got match number 2, though, for our 6 o'clock block, as we'll be going in with Alucard Main. I remember seeing them at least a time or two when it came to some awesome Super Smash, but Light B will be lighting it up here between Bayport and Green Bay Southwest. Light B enjoying an undefeated record, and Alucard Main gonna try and bounce back. I remember them actually talking about how they were trying to improve at the overall game. It's going to be a tough one for them, because Light B, I mean, tell me about teams and players that, you know, they want to keep that undefeated record, keep that #1 seed. It's tough to do, but when you do, you have so much advantage because you're just confident.
I almost wonder, though, when you look at this one, is this like one of those potential like trap game matchups where potentially Light B comes in and almost like underestimates the opposition? Because on paper, you feel like this should be easy enough for Light B to continue the undefeated streak, right? But right. These are also sometimes the matchups that deliver that, I mean, just cinema sort of product, and this could be a good turning point for Alucard Man.
So we'll see if Alucard Man is going to be able to get anything started here. We do have a third matchup, so a trifecta for you guys, as Ghost Sire is going to be taking up against Cheese, and Cheese, I believe, has been the lone man on the poll that has actually been keeping consistent as a Packers fanatic, but they're 1-3. Ghost is at 3-1. Paper-wise, this one's spinning a specific tale for us. Ghost in a pretty dominant position, but Cheese, he's got a chance to maybe gain some footing. And at this midpoint of the season, all these players are going to try and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, every matchup truly mattering here, right? I feel like this is a big matchup for Cheese where you come in as the underdog, you're playing with house money. And you know what? Sometimes that's exactly when you can perform your best. I'm going to be looking for Ghost to come in and try and flex their stuff for sure. But, man, it's hard not to root for the underdog in a matchup like this. Cheese has definitely got the potential in my eyes.
Well, we got those 3 matches all ready to light up your screen for you. So we're going to go over to the mainframe. How do you like these matchups, my dude? No one picking Vikings. I don't think that's a surprise. You get a lot of Detroit. That's actually been happening a lot more frequently. I think the one that kind of surprises me the most is that we got we've got Houston. We've got the Texans up here. Does that surprise you at all for what we got at the end of the season?
I would say of the teams up there, the Houston one definitely stands out to me as the outlier. But, I feel like sometimes those outliers, I mean, we did see Houston have a decent turnaround towards the end of their back half of their season. Maybe they know something. Maybe they're cooking something here, Monkey Man.
Well, you know what? I want to drop into that one. We're going to go ahead and get started into it. So let's go ahead to our top frame game. This is our even 500 matchup between Colin and it's Tux Bear. And the Detroit felt like they ended up kind of falling out at the end of the season. A lot of injuries kind of got them. Then they got the momentum mix that was the Commanders. Shout out my boy, my coworker who absolutely loves them and was sad that they just couldn't do anything against the Eagles. But we'll see if this one ends up kicking up as we go into our first game. And with the drop back, they're just trying to establish kind of basically the offense out of the pocket, but we're already on 3rd down.
Already on 3rd down, you were able to pick up a couple of yards, though, so that does open up your playbook just a hair bit going into this 3rd down sort of situation. I always feel like first drives can be oh so tough. You're trying to break the rust off. Wide open pass to the middle, but the ball just a little too far away, and 4th down, here we go.
That's unfortunate. There's a lot of teams that they, especially players that love to be able to take some early risks. I think that this one ends up going into just a regular punt. No, we decide because it's right inside the 40, play from that midfield. It's Madden, baby. It ain't real life. So you got the human element, you get the real element as they try to be able to squeeze down. Stroud will drop back. He's going to toss this over. He's got a man wide open, and this is exactly what you go for. Collins will come through. What was 4th and forever becomes a big TD.
All gas, no brakes, wide open downfield, and with a dimer of a pass just right up over the shoulder. And you mentioned you go from 4th and quite a bit to putting 6, let's call it 7, onto the scoreboard here. Talk about a quick start here for Colin.
That is so fast. That you know what? That's one of those that you end up getting trapped into. You don't play a deep enough zone, especially outside the hash mark, and they just catch you. They burn you with a streak all the way on that left sideline. So job well done to get that first purchase. To see if we can start anything here. They go right up the gut. It was starting to find a small hole, but all right. So Detroit feels like a grinder type of team. We're actually going to see them at least a couple times here in our 6 o'clock block. But let's start this one off. It feels like they're going to go ground game, but they got both of their twins tight. They may actually spread this out to the flats.
This past season for Detroit was so interesting for me because you think back to that Stafford Goff trade and how we saw like the instant success for Stafford out in LA, right? Well,
Yep.
Goff has kind of been more of the slow burn, and they've put together a really good program here around them, and they've got a little bit of everything on this roster, which is why I'm not surprised to see the higher pick rate of them even in the Green Bay area. They're just a real, I mean, they're like an old school, like smash mouth sort of team that can air it out when needed as well.
It feels almost like jack of all trades, master of none, and that is a tough call. Oh my goodness! You saw the spin. Goff was he's changed from kind of just navigating the pocket, was looking off to his right, went left, and then basically had to flick it. And then luckily for him, it ended up off the shoulder pad. So no harm, no foul. They got a couple downs left.
Got a couple left. It's gonna be a wide open pass to St. Brown though. It will be a first down. I think 48, 49 yard line. Yeah, 48 yard line. It does look like there. And they're going to be quickly right back to the line. Looking to probably set up to continue to push the pace. We haven't seen him go too much as far as in the run game. This time it's a handoff outside the tackle. That's at least good for 5. Make it 6.
Yeah, that was a sneaky move. I like the inside changeup on that spin, making at least a nice move where they did have the outside beat if they just wanted to follow their initial blockers, trying to just kind of spread this one as far as they can towards the sideline. But it looks like that we're going to be going past. Otherwise, nice quick drop back, lots of protection, lots of time.
Running.
If we want to, could just get a walkout first down, and they will.
Good call. You have the space. You might as well take the first down while you've got it and continue trekking down the field. You don't need to risk anything. You continue to move yourself, at least at minimum, into field goal territory. 'Cause I think the important thing after allowing a touchdown on the opening defensive drive, at minimum, you got to get yourself some points here.
Oh.
And then another nice catch, another great first down, and they're inside the 30 here, Monkey Man.
That is insane, actually. They were in like, what, triple or quadruple coverage, but they were just about a half football player distance away, so it was a nice little pocket to land in. So they will, in fact, unlock another first down. I think that's 3 in a row off of each of these downs. It looks like they want to engage the ground game again, get Montgomery to go right up that gap. It is a Texas size, but it's filled immediately. Montgomery saw green grass, and then he saw it very up close.
Yeah, that was a very quick shutdown of that hole to be able to put your running back right down onto the grass. Only 1 yard gain. I'm sure they felt like they were going to be able to walk away with more from that one, but now they have opened up quite a bit of their playbook, being able to establish a dominant run game. Here's Gibbs. That might go all the... Oh, he had the block sealed. If he would have just continued in the middle of the field, that's 6.
That's outthinking your own runner.
Yeah.
You had a chance. You sometimes just need to hit the stick forward and do nothing more but then sprint. But they will get down to the 4-yard line. They'll have a first and goal. So far, every down save the previous was very successful. Montgomery will make it second and short. They are sniffing the touchdown area.
I am really loving that to see the patience with the run game. I feel like so often when you watch Madden, people just want to air it out. You know, that new run and gun style offense that has been made so popular in the NFL. But I mean, honestly, a good run game is so easy to continue trekking down the field. We've seen it on this drive, and well, there you go. After the extra point, as long as they push that in, you're all tied up.
Now, they haven't been automatic across all of our players with, extra points this season, especially last week. I think we saw legs grow arms as they just started swiping to the outside of the top pylon. So we'll see if this one goes dead center. It will, and so will we, as we will go back out to the mainframe with this one being tied up at 7. So we got a kind of an instant class. You get it going on up top, an offensive masterpiece. It's locked in as 0-0 apiece on the bottom left. But let's check out our bottom right. We've got Eagles versus Green Bay. So we're going to hone in on our bottom right matchup between Ghost Sire and Cheese. This is Cheese at 1-3, Ghost Sire at 3-1, and they're playing into that Eagles defense, and you and I both know how solid they were this season.
I hate to admit it, because I'll tell you what, man, those Philly fans can sometimes be a little rough to deal with. But yeah, they did look really, really darn good this year, and the defensive side of the ball really helped set the tone for them quite often. Does look like we're going to end up with a punt. This thing's going to end up in a position, however, where, yeah, you can't just simply let it go into the back of the end zone. Decent punt, puts them in pinned back at, I think, the 11, 12-yard line.
Yeah, somewhere back there. They ended up not having the receiver go as far back as necessary. So I don't know if they got a touchdown and missed the extra point, or if they had a couple field goals. Either way, it will be I believe that Ghost is currently on the Eagles. Cheese has really not let up from their region's namesake over there with the Packers. So we'll see if their defense. If you commit to it, would you? I need to know, as a Vikings fan, would you pick Vikings?
I
if
pick
you were
them every time I play Madden.
Nice.
Even when we've had some rough seasons, boy. But I'll tell you what. But right now, though, it's a wide open field as far as with one defender blocked off. But they will eventually get put on the ground. No huddle, though. They're going to find success and try and duplicate it.
Gonna try and make this a sweat marker. You actually pulled your middle linebacker. Oh, and Dotson will pull away. It was right over the top. They ran straight into the strong safety, and they even slowed down. Oh, adding some extra insult to what was a huge, huge score.
What a pass. You might even say that it was a dot, son. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's going to put them up 12-0. They're going to go for 2 to see if they can make up for what was, I'm guessing, a missed PAT last time around. The Two-point conversion will be good. 14-0 here, and all of a sudden, Ghosts starting to run away with things. Also, while we're getting to the kickoff, what's your thoughts on the new kickoff rules? I am still kind of, I think the verdict's still open for me. I'm not sure how I like it.
So I don't mind it. I feel like there's got to be a way we reassure that they actually drop it into this back zone a lot more often. Otherwise, it ends up just being, all right, I get there's player safety. I love that. I played football whenever I was in high school, and my knee went backwards, I broke my finger, and I'm pretty sure I compressed my spine. So I understand it. However, I kind of miss the violence. Like, whenever you got rid of the shovel of, like, everyone making the scoop whenever you had the returning team, I'm like, that was me. I was one of those guys laying people down. So I understand it. I respect it. It's okay, but it's kind of just medium cold, you know?
I also feel like we haven't seen as many like high impact kickoff return plays since the change.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing that you always appreciated of having a potential of, especially in late game scenarios. But when we talk about game scenarios here, we're getting kind of late into this first half, and well, Cheese is still trying to find some way to get something cooking, Monkey Man.
Yeah, he's trying to establish on the ground. It's the same mentality you get out of anyone that kind of plays for that multiple asset style team like Detroit. But this Eagles defense, they've got a fantastic front four, and so if you're going straight into the Lions' den like this, then you're trying to come out a king, but it's tough. They only got 4, so we're already at 3rd down and 6, and they may actually make this one open up here with love.
You feel like right now you're at a situation where you've got to continue trekking forward. If you are 3 and out, I was going to say you might consider going for it on 4th, but instead it's a pick going the opposite way. And, well, it's at least back towards the midfield line, and this one might be getting out of control early.
Just a little bit. All right, let's go out to the mainframe. This will be a turnover going back towards Philly, and it's feeling like Ghost Sire is in a good position. So, and just as we get here, there was a big score, I believe, picked up by Lightbee. I may be mistaken. We'll figure that out regardless. So they just got one for a separate Packer. So feels like, if one group of Packers is failing, another one picks up and they get a touchdown.
They should be able to secure that extra point here as well on that bottom left-hand box. It's going to be really up to the Lions here to see how they can respond. I feel like that's going to be big. You saw that this was the last matchup where we didn't see a score come across, so we're late into the second. Let's go ahead and tune into that game and see how the Lions do.
Yeah, let's figure that one out. All right, it looks like about 3.5 minutes, just a little bit more than that. Ooh, okay, wait. So this is the other side of that kickoff that you were talking about, where if you try to land it in the zone but you land short of it, it's a penalty, right? So you end up out here at the 40.
There's a lot of field to be given up on what was a big responding drive. You already allow them to be 25-ish yards away from the outer edge of that field goal range. What a blitz though on the corner. Nobody there to prevent them from getting to the quarterback. And you know what? As much as you gave up a lot of field, you get at least some of it back there.
I think like 15. Oh man, we're at 2nd and 21. So they eventually had Goff kind of come on down, but that's because they also pushed the running back to try and go out into the flat. So there was no one to protect him. Yep. Right into coverage. Cooper comes up huge. Can he be able to turn it for even more? They go right back and will be at the 30. Man. Well, 2 big plays back to back there, Q.
Yeah, talking about a change of the story, right? You thought you gave them up way too much starting room as far as on the field, and you get a big play and then an even bigger play, and now you're not too far away from that red zone here. However, this could be very well dropping a dime of a pass over that back shoulder, and look at that, right there on the goal line.
Dobbs comes up. This one was looking scary when it was initially thrown. It was on a beeline to that safety, but he was turned looking at the receiver, did not have a chance to get the old CPU to start spinning the right way. But Campbell will clear into the running back. Did you see the way he dragged that lineman with him?
Yeah, he was a beast of a man on the line there to be able to get into the backfield as well, to be able to bring them on down. We didn't get so much yardage back as I thought it did look originally on that first run back, but Campbell looking to get that penetration in the backfield again, rushes the pass, and, well, we're off the third down.
And they hit that light tap whenever they made that throw, so it's not quite a hard throw on a line. They kind of lofted it over to the corner. Didn't give enough time regardless, as it was well ahead of the receiver. Campbell, again, still trying to make more. They will catch it on the goal line, and they will make it out just short of the 10. It's another big interception. We're finding the defense showing up for all of our players today.
He beats the tackle there. He has field for days, and that could have very well have been a big pick six, but luckily enough, as far as for now, they are still pinned back pretty far in their field. But you talk about 2.5 minutes. That's plenty of time in Madden World to be able to trek the field.
We'll see how this all turns out. They have just enough breathing room to not worry about safety situations or otherwise. So this is a very defensive battle. All of one score here through a quarter and a half. You got Goff chilling all the way back, and eventually he had to let those routes show themselves into a quadruple tackle. It is a huge cheese fest, but one line pops up, and that's Patrick with a big gain.
That was big. You had your 2 deep routes that just pulled everyone so far away. Nice open field on that underneath. You have the lead coming across the field, and well, all sorts of space to be able to move this thing up the field. And we're at, a little over 2 minutes. You've still got the whole playbook at your disposal where you're sitting on the field, looking comfortable.
Yeah, I don't think they want to leave them with much time to work with.
No.
The 2-minute clock, make sure to own it, force them to take timeouts if they got it, but you got a free timeout with that 2 just around the corner. They may not even run this play, might get it off just before. They have everyone tight. Goff has a wide open field here. He doesn't have many. They're trying to run it out. He throws it off balance, and that will be picked up. Did that hit the ground?
It's incomplete.
Ah, okay, all right. Through the gloves. Why even wear them?
It was a risky throw, though, I do got to say. I mean, he had a foot reach, but that was kind of in a situation where I feel like you were risking a lot, especially for what it was a first down play. I know you had the 2-minute warning if you do complete it, but definitely a risky play just before the half. Luckily, though, you're going to get this one back. It's off to 2nd and 10. Let's see what they can make of it here.
They got Montgomery that's going to go way out to that flat, so you got to check down if you have to use them. But they're going to have Goff again go wide out to the left. Got to be careful because these QBs, as much as you want to bring them out of the pocket and maybe even naked bootleg, you don't want to get them into like a punch up into a DB situation because they'll rock you and they'll make you fumble.
You want to fumble in the open field. Not only that, you don't want to end that risk of being just a little too fragile off of a big head hit as well. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Let's see as far as now, 1.5 minutes still left. Looks like going for a lot of deep play off that right side. Has room. That's picked, however, by Stokes, and has field up this left sideline.
Oh, he made too many moves.
Yep.
Stokes is actually being tracked down. It's one big move, and then you sprint. Might have been able to make it for a pick six, but still, both these teams are picking up what the QBs are leaving behind. And you had mentioned before, it's not great to go one-dimensional. Feels like we were only looking at passing plays. They were trying to run the 2-minute clock, but they couldn't get it to work.
You've been able to give them a position where they got plenty of time, and again, so much at their disposal here. You've got time, you've got room. That might just be 6 there. Hold on a second. Branch comes across and gets the pick. They opt to go out of the goal, or out of the end zone, though, which is going to put them in. They are still going to be called on a touchback.
Okay, so they had their feet. They had to tightrope themselves back to the end zone. It's just so close. Felt like they were actually right there, but they end up just in bluer grasses. So they go and get out to the 20. So both these guys throw in pick for pick. Not exactly what they want to do to establish some overall field space. And again, finding these very tiny windows, can't quite pick it up.
Dangerous window there. You had 2 defenders, and well, if there's he mentioned it already been a couple of picks. That one's turned around. You still give them opportunity to be able to put points onto the scoreboard here. Back to the line they go. Does look like going to be opting to go for a more downfield sort of look. We've been seeing that from them quite a bit here. Actually checking down underneath. They've got space. They don't get the first, though.
They will get out of bounds. That will stop the clock. You don't have to use a timeout as soon as you hit that sideline. So they're going to have 3 fresh if they really want to. There's still so much room to gain. They got 3rd and 1. So as this continues to grind out, feels like they're super far down the field. Let's go to the mainframe for all of a moment. We'll let this one continue to grind because they'll have to make a big play out of it. Oh my goodness, we left for a minute there, Q. It's 26-0 with the Eagles and the Packers. And then you have a barn burner that's happening up top. it's like dichotomy just between the two of them. My goodness.
Yeah, and let's go. Let's actually see basically what at this point with the score you had to bounce back essentially here for Green Bay on that offensive drive. Let's go ahead and tune in down there and see if they've got what it takes to at least keep things a little close down there in that bottom right.
So we'll see how this one ultimately goes, because it feels like if there's one more score the other way, we will hit into that mercy rule situation. And with that being now a 4th and 7, it's looking kind of grim here for Cheese. They're a Packer faithful. As a Viking fan, you know how tough that can be. I saw the entirety of the NFC North literally crumble in the playoffs. So feels, not to rub salt into the wound, but you are like a seasoned steak right now. So Ghosts, though, they go with the Eagles. You may not like the Philly fans, but the grind is real.
The grind is real, and real recognized. Real, they definitely game recognized game for sure. And they've definitely had the momentum. You've been able to put up some big points here, and well, that's not going to slow them down from airing things out once more. That's going to be a big first down already into Green Bay half.
They have so many weapons. It made so blatant how well that this team played whenever they were going into the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. Oh, does Brown do it all here? He has too many Packers to have to deal with, but getting it to the 16-yard line, it's starting to look like the curtains are beginning to get called. The fat lady's beginning to hum at least a couple bars.
Let's be real. This Philly roster wasn't fair once they added Saquon. You didn't pick him up. They're still a nasty roster regardless. But then you pick up the best back in the game right now. You're just unstoppable. There's too many options. You got some great tight ends as well, as we did see on that last play. And they just look like they're running it up here, Monkey Man.
Yeah, Goddard is able to scoop, score, and give a little jig at the very beginning of the end zone. That one ends up getting a quick roughing the kicker, and they may actually turn this into a 2-point conversion if they feel like it. No, they will keep the PAT. So as this one goes 33-0, Ghost Exire looking like they are in supreme control. So I'm feeling like this one is ultimately going to go the right way for Ghost. Cheese, it's tough week for them. Maybe another kickoff around the bend if they end up kind of continuing onward, but otherwise, Ghost is in just a fantastic spot, and that's how some of these weeks just go. You end up with someone that knows the way that they want to play, and they just bring the heat.
Momentum can be dangerous no matter what esport title you're playing. You know what I mean? We're seeing it here in this case. It's has very quickly turned the tide, and Ghost is indeed going to be able to walk away your winner here today, moving them up to 4-1, having a pretty solid season thus far.
Yeah, that's a great showcase for them. So congratulations over the Ghosts out of Green Bay Southwest High School. So we've got them as our first winner, but we do have a couple matches that are still in progress. And it's been a while since we went to the one that started things off. And there, let's see, about 4 seconds before they're going to kick off that half, we just got into the third quarter. Which way you want to go, Q? The one that's been defensive or the one that's finding answer for answer?
Well, something tells me we're about to be popping into halftime. We'll have to be running back, kickoffs, and everything. So let's go ahead and tune into that right box since we're already into play, that Green Bay Detroit matchup, just because I do feel like this one's going to be closer to seeing our first score. Not only that, I feel like a very big drive here as far as for the Lions. They haven't been able to find any success as far as on the scoreboard in the first 2 quarters, and opening up with a pick. There's plenty of green space. Unfortunately, not enough speed in the tank. They will be able to get this thing close to the red zone though.
You know, I didn't know Goff could tackle like that. So, good job. 16, light them up. You know what? If you throw the pig into opponent's hands, make sure you can finish the job and bring old number 7 down. But again, it's pick for pick, and this one is a little closer than what we've seen. However, they have thrown those immediate interceptions right in the middle of the end zone. They're going to keep it on the ground this time. Woo! Jacobs receiving a silver helmet for free.
Big hit coming across, and well, you can see even the quarterback looking over and being like, hey, what can we do about this, my guy? But play number 2 as far as on this drive, you figure the defense can stand tall here for Detroit. Another big stop, only allowing 2 yards. 3rd and 7 puts you in where you should be pretty well expecting a passing play. Let's see if they can hold it down.
See, I come from the school of Power I, so I would just keep running, and then I'd take a field goal. I'm one of those guys, but they got Jordan Love, so they're going to see if this all works out. Oh, boy, it's a repeat of what we've seen a moment ago. Robertson's going to be able to make a move, and they'll be getting close to the 20, just short of it. Another big interception.
Well, the defenses on both sides have been stepping up, this time no different. I saw that ball up in the air. I saw the defender in a spot where they can make a play. And man, did they ever. That's so huge for this Detroit squad, who quickly started this half with a turnover to be able to stop it just short of another touchdown.
All right, so we begin anew just before the 20. It's basically a touchback with the way they were able to at least get some yards. See if Goff's got some weapons. They're going to throw it on a crossing route. St. Brown. Oh, good downfield block, by the way. Recognizing when the catch happens, so they got at least the corner. They'll grab the first. Nice
easy yard. Sometimes that's the way you need to start getting the nice little gravy train going. Get back to where you're feeling the flow of the game a little bit. I do feel, however, we've been seeing quite a bit of passing. I would like to see them find a little bit of success in that running game. We know that this Detroit roster is capable of it. We just haven't quite seen it in this matchup.
Yeah, I feel like they're, instead of establishing the run game to open up the passing game, they're trying to do kind of the opposite. And so even when you have this double tight situation, you got twins to both sides, it'll make you look like, all right, is this going to be a run? And instead they full sell out and everyone's is able to go downfield. Huge pickup by Williams. So you get this conditioning cue, and they go hurry up. Now do you expect this to be a run this next time? Because it's another big pass, and they just continue to just go all out.
I mean, I guess you did say it earlier. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. St. Brown standing still at the risky throw, just because I feel like could have been set up for a big hit, does secure the catch. And, well, that first down puts them down on the 30-yard line. You're in field goal range at this point, but you figure being into the third quarter and having not scored yet, you would really like to walk away with 6.
Yeah, that previous throw was also kind of a hospital throw. You set up your receiver to really get their spine collapsed on. Oh, just like Goff had with the defender coming straight up the middle. Maybe this is why they've not been able or not been running too many running plays. They're just having this entire line collapse on them.
The line has not been standing the test thus far. That is most definitely for sure. This third down play will at least get you closer back to that 30-yard line where you started at, so you can line up for a field goal. It is still going to be a heftier sort of kick. You figure what, probably right around the 50-ish yarder, 48-yarder kick. This is going to be a tough one.
Oh, and it's windy out there. That thing goes wobbling, and so does the ball. As that field goal comes up short, first attempt that we've seen on the night for it. So another all-in situation to try and get something on the board. Simply cannot do it. Q, this defensive battle just continues to fire out as we'll switch back over. And both teams have had looks. The defense has showed up literally at the goal line. Love's going to be back out. And the biggest thing that we haven't seen is any scoring on our 13-16. So I want to see how this one's rocking and rolling, because Houston as a pick really was one of those like, what? But Houston had themselves a chance late term in the regular season to try and make that playoff. And, I think they did, but I think they were knocked out first round. Refresh my memory.
What? I think that sounds about right? First round? Yeah, I think an early exit as far as them. Are they going to... Oh, I thought they were going to score there on this play. Let's tune in here real quick. We do see the pick 6 coming across for the Lions. Also had a score on the other side of the screen, just by the way, as far as for Green Bay. It is going to make things extend that lead. But what a play as far as the defensive side here.
Oh, my goodness. Look, everyone got their points in the first half. And then literally nothing's been happening in the second. Huge hands, by the way. Defensive coaches, they put guys back there because they're really good at swatting stuff down. To be able to get someone special to turn around and catch it is just a whole extra +1.
Big +1. You're able to not only prevent the touchdown, you get the possession. Now you've got a nice steal on the outside of the line as well. That was a nice hole to run through, and that's more space up the field. You're up towards the 30.
That's how you follow your blockers and really adapt and twist with where you got to go. So, it was a scoreless third quarter. That's pretty prototypical for whenever you get that going into these second halves. Both teams playing lockdown, both our players playing lockdown. It's an even 500 matchup. Both these guys would love to be able to get that little extra win in that column. They're going to the ground game to try and establish it, but Gibbs gets eaten up by 2.
I think they were hoping that linebacker had kind of gotten sucked in behind that other block behind their line, that the defensive tackle was hoping maybe the middle of the field was going to work for him. Unfortunately, wasn't the case. Pretty easy tackle in the open field. Only able to gain 2 on that one. They are going to have to start worrying about a sense of urgency on the defensive side here for Houston, though. You need to get this ball back and make sure you're able to give your team good positioning, field positioning, because you've only got 4 minutes left in this game.
Yeah, and I would not want to rely on having to get a field goal just to keep myself in it. But you start looking at that, at least as options. Oh, my goodness. Were they setting up a screen?
Yes.
Because ain't nobody there. But they decided, you know what? If you're not going to get rid of that ball, it doesn't matter where the screen is. You're going to be on the ground.
Good call as far as on sending the house and sending it at the right time. Will force a punt. That's going to be deep down into this side. You got open field if you can get around the first one. Hold up, though. You surrendered space, and then it's a spin. Oh, no, now you're back at the 5. Not like this. The 6.
Oh, man. A loss of everything. I don't even know how many yards. I think that was somewhere around the 20.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one. So, you know what? This is just to prove it's for content. It's to prove that you can be able to go all the way upfield from it'd be a 94-yard campaign. Let's see if it happens. Mixon. Ooh, I remember his time at OU. He gets caught immediately.
Imagine you are able to break that one tackle, though. You had all sorts of space up that left field. I'm sure they saw it, but when you get hit in the legs like that, unfortunately hard to keep yourself moving. You got to find some way. You can't keep just chucking away at 2-3 yard games. I understand wanting to use the running game to open up the passing game, but you got so much field to go and so little time to use.
I mean, the good news for them, they got 3 timeouts. None of those have been touched. You have a 2-minute warning, and if they properly use the sideline, you actually have a lot of time, but it's going to take some really big doctoring of this clock and playing some big macro management. A lot of seal blocks. Mixon's going to be able to get to that corner, and from right side to left side, a couple big first downs.
Slowly working their way up the field here, Monkey Man. This is maybe I was wrong. I was saying you couldn't just chuck a couple yards at a time, but they definitely seem to be up for the challenge here. 2 big first downs. He's going to come up with actually run straight up the middle. That one almost gets a first down as well.
My goodness, you know what? They are grinding this defense to a halt, and this offense is really starting to get some steam built up. So we'll see how this one continues to go. 317 between these 2 even 500 players. Someone wants to be able to get themselves higher up in the leaderboard and really just kind of run it down here for the Green Bay region. He goes and stretches this one a bit wide. Wow. So
surely you go for this, right?
You have to. This is 2 down territory. This is a grind fest. They're trying to get the clock and the win on this.
Only 1 yard, though, so you do, it feels plenty achievable for sure. Up to the line, Stroud takes the rest of the squad. And here it is, actually, risky play going around the outside. I'm not sure if I agree with that decision-making. Obviously, easier to say that from up here than down there, but I feel like you just wanted to run that one up the gut.
Yeah, I want an early cut. I know that they had that off the speed, and this is possibly very early here for the game. 2.5 minutes to go. Everyone's crowned the box, and they decide to just push it straight up the middle. Wow, okay, no one lined up in the A gap, so they took it.
You're going to tell me the tush push became so popular and we're not going to stuff the box like that on a 4th and 1? Come on. You can definitely understand the thought process. Honestly, that 3rd down play kind of opened that up, right? Showing that you have the gall to send a run to the outside on a 1 yard left sort of play. It's going to be a pass to the outside. This will keep the clock running. Luckily, the 2-minute timer, that 2-minute warning going to be right there, so you're not going to have to worry about burning a timeout. You're okay with the result there.
It's feeling like with the way that this campaign started all the way, what was it, at the 6? Now we're still on their 41 yard on their side. This is going to end up being the game if they cannot get themselves some positive points on the scoreboard. It's got to either be a field goal to tie, or they got to be able to find themselves a game leader at minimum, and it could be at the wire. Mixon, my goodness, he's like a pinball in there, but the bumpers put him down to 1 yard left.
Man, but you know what? Continue plugging and chugging. You mentioned all you need is a field goal. You're getting relatively close to that field goal range here. And if you keep running the ball, you're not going to have anything left on the clock for a response before that overtime. So you know what? I'm digging it. Let them cook.
My goodness, this is a slow broil, but it's one that you're seasoning the entire time. 1.5 minutes here in the fourth quarter. They line up. They are going all in, at least on selling that this is going to be another run. You get everyone kind of pinched upwards, and they're going to go for Mixon. He goes outside. He's going to try and navigate the box. He has so many people. He's just in a spin cycle. He's looking like my sweater. Oh, my gosh. Got swallowed up by a pack of lions.
Yeah, swallowed up by a pack of lions. You lose 4. The clock continues to run as well. All round bad. At this point, you do figure like you got to start leaning on a couple of passes to move you into that Detroit territory. Hit as he throws, and that means we're off to third down.
So we have this one that has become a so close race, so close yet so far. 60 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. We could even have overtime depending on if something big occurs, but it's 3rd and 14. It's got to be massive. The middle of the field is wide open. You actually see them dropping back. They're going to try and bring the linebackers over and try and cover up. You see triple on triple for that tight triplets, basically, right onto the right side. They caught him in the middle of the shift, so maybe they caught him off guard for all of a moment. Stroud over to Stoltz, and they will grab the first positive side of the 40.
It's a big play. I thought with the cover 2 that they were lining up in that they weren't going to give up that much space. Kind of surprising to see a receiver that much in open field. And, well, now at this point, you do still have those 3 timeouts to work with, so you can make some plays towards the middle of the field. Opting to go towards the outside. Unfortunately, they're only picking up 1.
Man, you're chewing clock. Very courteous with your timeouts, but you got to start looking at it. If you end up with this in the middle of the grass, you got to take a timeout if you're Houston, especially if you get swallowed. Mixon bounces off too, and this has got to be where you kill clock, or not kill clock, but you actually just stop it, right? Yeah, timeout comes up. All right, cool, all right. I was wondering if that was eventually going to occur. While they take this timeout, let's jump to the mainframe for all of a moment, see what things are looking like. It is still 14-0, and it looks like there's a desperation moment as we are 2:54 in the fourth to try and get something established. They finally get a score. That's huge, getting on the board.
That's a huge one, especially with a extra point. You cut the lead in half, and you're still within a 1-score ball game. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and tune back into that left game as we're off to a 4th and 1 sort of scenario. It feels like this is where you either are able to send it off to overtime. I feel like with 13 seconds on the clock, you have to kick the field goal here, right?
Yeah, you're 4th and 1, but I've seen people do crazier things. Can they get the boot? You're at the 29. That should put you, in the early 40s of, so you're not in a bad spot. As long as the wind ain't crazy, this should be a laser, and it's gonna be in the middle, and it's good. So we are all tied up, Q, with 9 seconds to go. It comes down to a big return, Hail Marys, but OT seems inevitable.
Does seem like OT is inevitable, and you know what? Sign me up, baby. Let's get some hashtag for the contents in chat. Kickoff, maybe you can make some magic happen. Does look like they're going to opt for the touchback, and unless we're anything short of a last-second miracle, OT is where we're going.
All right, so while we have that in the probability sector, let's go back to the mainframe and let's check out how our other fourth quarter is currently being established. It is 14-6. They missed the extra point. Oh boy, that could be huge. These defenses have been looking at each other all night. They have been having a tough time with it, and it looks like they're actually running out the remainder of the clock on our other game. So let's drop into this one for all of a moment. See if we can get about 2.5 minutes of this.
See what they're able to do here. You figure at this point, you're just trying to burn as much clock as possible. The only problem is it's 3rd and 13, so you can't necessarily just all run the ball. Oh, that's a big pick, however. A dangerous throw over the middle into coverage, and it's returned back to about the 39-yard line.
So there's a realistic chance that you could see this comeback happen. That extra point miss not only resonates from when it happened, but to now, which means there is a moment to be able to get another touchdown, but you got to get 2. So tough that this could be for both these teams to have to handle. My goodness, these fourth quarters have been insane between our 2 remaining games.
I love it. You got one off to overtime. This one's going to be a burner down towards the end as well, it does appear. Let's see how their first play of this drive goes. It's a pass over the middle of St. Brown, just shy of a first down.
He had 2nd and inches, and they may actually have this one go all the way to the 2-minute. No. Okay, so they decide to burn the timeout before the 2-minute warning, getting very proactive in the macro game just to be able to keep time management up. But I was thinking that you can still get that off. Doesn't matter when you hand it straight up the gut to Montgomery. Now you let this one go to the 2-minute. As Montgomery, he's having extra words. I would too, with the way that they were telling the Packers what's up.
Yeah, I think the thought process behind that timeout is then you are able to set up whatever run you want to guarantee the first down, because it was just inches you had, right? Then you get to the 2-minute warning. You're pretty well secured in not only like edge of field goal range, but you are well in the field goal range. You have so much of the playbook available to pass over the middle, and that's a dangerous one. They've got Field on the left side, not going to be able to get there, as it is going to be a pick back to the 18-yard line.
Goff's late Christmas gift was a shoulder to the gut. He threw off of his back foot and maybe just got it off right as he was drilled. But unfortunately, the target was dead in traffic, unable to get it over the top as they sunk it straight into coverage. Tough scenes there, as now with the Packers going back to the line. Oh, that strange moves. Remember, there's still a couple timeouts, and they're going to force them to burn them, but they're going to burn that clock as well.
And remember, now we think back to that play where you burn the timeout before the 2-minute warning. Detroit's only got 2 timeouts. They've already used one. The second surely going to be used. Would you use it here? I almost think I'd wait to use it until after this 3rd down play. Looks like that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, because you're going to have, what, a minute or so? I got to wonder if they're actually going to just kind of have them sit here. You can actually establish it in settings. No, they go uptick tempo. Jacobs, he's going to make too many moves.
Respect.
So, you know what? Why not? Play ball. Don't have to overthink ball.
Respect. Just going to line up and continue doing it, even if it was an 8, 10, 12-point lead. That does put more time onto the clock, though. Hold on.
Wait.
A fake, but that doesn't pay off, and now things truly get interesting.
That is a play call, Q.
That is a play call.
That is one of the play calls of this match and all time. It will give the Lions a chance, a gift. Goff deep in his own pocket. It goes to St. Brown, and it immediately goes the other direction. The Lions have themselves a chance. We're within 2 points. Can they get this conversion?
I guess maybe hashtag for the content the opposite way. They said, you know what, we're going to stand tall on the 2-point conversion here. Will be Goff looking to drop on back. It is to the middle. What?
What?
Ain't no way, bro.
Sure.
Ain't no way.
That went right in the middle of everyone. That's threading the needle, and Grandma is so proud about your quilt work. Wow. Okay. We're tied at 14. Talk about just absolute dilapidation of defense.
Madden land. See, that's why I don't play it, because that's the stuff that'll make me throw a controller. I'll tell you what. Did have to try and bring that thing out of the end zone. It's just shy of the 20-yard line. I guess you could have just simply taken the knee, I do suppose. But, well, now you've got 1:16 left on the clock. Let's see if the Packers... Oh, that's a dangerous throw. Is that a pick? Yes, it is. Davis has a blocker there as well. And Green all in front of him. And that's going to be a pick 6. Oh, my, how the turns have tabled.
That is absurd. Spin cycled this entire narrative. What was a 14-6 in just short amounts of chaos has become 21-14. Oh my goodness. Q, you couldn't write the nonsense that we just saw more eccentrically than what we've been able to witness here.
Oh, you know what? We've seen stranger things happen. This has already turned once. Maybe they can turn it one more time. We didn't learn the last time from leaving the end zone. This time, though, going to be able to at least get up to the 20.
All right. Well, you got a minute left. Both our games currently going on, and we did get a score in overtime. Oh my goodness, that's gonna set it up for Houston to get up to 22. So, you as soon as you get a touchdown, it's done, right? No, yes, maybe.
Should be the rules here, unless they're running off of, is it set off of playoff rules, where both teams get a guaranteed possession?
Okay, so looks like that one is not over. Okay, so they're okay. I'm the slightest bit confused about that. Meanwhile, while I can't process at the rate of a quantum computing chip, we have another huge interception. They were trying to stay inbounds. They get forced out of bounds. That game that we are witnessing has been just going off the rails.
It has gone off the rails, and that gives you, it feels like what should be just securing things away for that Detroit squad at this point. Should be able to pretty well run out the clock. I guess there's no timeouts available. Just going for that runoff here of the clock. It feels like that should be the deed as far as the right side.
All right, so we'll see how this continues to kind of scope in, and we'll keep you guys up to date. Who knows what overtime rules are actually being used on our remaining matchup between Houston and Detroit. So we'll see how that one all considers. And this one's actually finalized. Job well done as they run out the rest. What a comeback, what a game, and what a way. Big dubs being found. That's never giving up here, Q. So congratulations goes over to Light B. You know what? They're undefeated for a reason. Found a way to come back.
Nice comeback there indeed with the Lions. Must have been a regular season game if the Lions are coming back like that, though. Let's be honest. But being able to pull out a big dubski there. And yeah, I was going to say, it does look like we're back out on the field in overtime. I guess they are guaranteeing both teams get a possession. That does mean, however, that the Lions need to walk away with 7.
You know what? I feel like this is how all overtime should happen. I feel like it should just be an entire extra quarter, and then we do something weird, like just have kickoffs and craziness. St. Brown has been a huge weapon for this Lions squad, and this was a comeback as well. I believe it was like 16-13
at one point.
Since then, a 10-point run here for the Texans.
I gotta give a big shout out to the Josh Allen rule. That does make sure that both teams get themselves a possession as far as in overtime. Goff has space. Going to take the dive as well to continue running the clock. 5-yard gain, not too bad.
You know, I feel like everyone should just be like, you know what? Let's see extra football. I know that, you know, there's time and schedules that have to be handled. My goodness, but Gibbs, he's on time for the train that he's apparently conducting as he wiggles all the way to a 3rd and short.
Snatched a pair of ankles and almost got themselves 2 around the outside. Unfortunately stopped just shy of the first down, but should be relatively easy to obtain here. Yeah, QB sneak, there it is. First down has been achieved, and well, you've still got time, 90 seconds on the clock.
I don't want to see any QB flex when they just sneak through an A-gap. That's never. Don't do that. You're not made for that. Goff on the drop back. He's going to have someone over the middle. Patrick actually gets caught up, but he's still on his feet for a little bit longer. A minute 13 approaching. They will have the 10-second run-off as we go. Hurry up, no huddle. Goff with an empty backfield. It's all air weapons.
Oh, there's space here. Let's see if they can make any use of it. Actually, there's a defender in the backfield that shuts it down. I do gotta say, the flex after a QB sneak, not nearly as bad as the cornerback that comes up after a receiver's like clearly overthrown and like celebrates and acts like if they did something, you know?
It's also just like a goalie with a big pickup here, but with a goalie in soccer and like someone completely whiffs it. And they act like a Jedi that just completely mind tricked you from being able to get like, yeah, I did that. Like, okay, buddy. This is actually one of my favorite plays because you have so many options stacked on top of each other. Goff's going to have a full fan-fledged of receivers, but he's going to take it himself, and that's a fumble. It's going to be picked up by Gibbs, and it becomes even longer of a run as we're at the 15.
clearly or surely using a timeout. No, actually just quickly going to the line. They said, you know what? We had success. Try again across the middle to Laporta.
Oh.
But now you've got to burn the timeout, and you need to find a way to get this ball into the end zone.
You got two tries. You cannot have an elongated scramble or kind of navigation of your pocket. Feels like they may go empty here again. It is a very short field to have to deal with. You have 2 4-second plays, or at least one like a 7-second, then you have 1 second to go. You got to keep something on the clock if you intend to do it twice, or literally just score. Goff over the middle again to St. Brown, and that's going to be it. Nope, that's rough. You had to take an end zone shot, and it didn't happen. So that'll be it. As we ended in overtime, they go the distance on the clock. Congratulations goes to Colin, as he will improve to 2-1. And Tux Bear, they will go to 2-3. All these games, we got every value we wanted here, Q. We got tight defensive battle. We got a crazy comeback. We got score fest into overtime. And then we got a shutout. So all these awesome players just bringing literally everything we want to see.
Got a taste of a little bit of everything in 2 games that were down to the wire. When you have 2 of 3 down to the wire like that, I don't think you can really ask for much more. And even better than that, Monkey Man, we're not done for the day.
No, we got the 7 o'clock block coming right up at you, but that's going to be after a short break. Make sure to stick with us as more of the Players League, as presented by Stay Plugged In and Brightspeed Fiber Internet. We'll be back in just a moment.
Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed Fiber Internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra-fast, Brightspeed Fiber Internet. Switch to the bright side.
Get ready for the first ever Stay Plus Formula STEM Esports Cup presented by Brightspeed Fiber Internet. The season kicks off March 20th, so gear up and don't miss your chance to make history. Open registration is now live for high schools across North America. Join this groundbreaking competition featuring weekly qualifiers, an 8-week season, and a thrilling 40-person championship event. Race for $5,000 in prizes and weekly rewards. Participate in live test sessions of racetracks led by a professional driver and explore exciting career opportunities in the world of racing. Your journey to the podium starts now. Register today.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time to get back to the Players League. And again, I'm Hail Monkey Man in the booth alongside your boy Q. And Q, we had 3 solid matches. One kind of a lopsided blowout, another one that reached overtime, and one that was a defensive effort. Craziness all the way around. Did Green Bay as a region, did it show up for you even if there weren't any Vikings?
It showed up and showed out. Yeah, we definitely had a lot of NFC North representation, didn't we? But no Vikings. Surprise, surprise, I suppose. But you know what? Not surprising. The Vikings really have known for anything being the Green Bay retirement home, even with conversations about potentially picking up Rodgers this offseason, which do seem to have come to a halt. Thank goodness. But as we do kind of look forward to our next round of matchups, I really hope that they bring that same spice and flavor.
Well, we're going to be seeing some extra spice as we go from that upper northern region over towards the Carolinas, as Fullvex will be taking on Hex Viaz with Kearns Academy and T. Wingate Andrews. Fullvex will be playing their first matchup into Hex, who we got to see last week, and it turned into a big dub as they were able to win 34-0. So Fullvex better be ready for some old Carolina spice.
Talk about a heck of a start to your season. Hey, here's the guy that mercy ruled their last opponent. Have fun. Make sure you handle her kind of nice in the corners, I guess. It's going to be a really big challenge for Fullvex here today.
Yeah, it's a tough task, but you know what? That also means for Hex that they have no working, PowerPoint or video or anything for the War Room review for Fullvex. So a complete unknown. But let's see what our other matchup, as we will have a 2-set rocking into this one. One Hand Fish versus Wild Card. And because you're new, Q, here's a fun fact for you. One Hand Fish plays with one hand. They only have one hand. So they've been putting up the good numbers at 2-2, and they've even posted up a shutout. Wild Card looking for their first dub.
Is it Wild Card VI or is that Wild Card 6? I'm not really sure looking at it, but we'll go with Wild Card as far as overall looking for their first dub. You mentioned getting ready to see if they can pull that thing off. I like to see kind of the difference between the two, and not only the difference between our two matchups as far as stats. We've got unique picks all the way around, almost where we have 4 new teams minus Houston, which was a surprise first time around. Maybe loses its surprise in the second wave.
How do you feel about the Bengals in their current existence right now? It feels like they obviously were trying to get Cool Joe to kind of work out, but Burrow's been kind of burrowing further into the Bengals. How have you felt about them?
They've I mean, they're all right. You know what I mean?
They all right.
What do you want me to say about the Ohio teams? I don't know what you really want from me. You know what I mean? At least they're better than their cross-state rival, I guess. But they're like one of those teams that I feel like just hasn't quite been able to reach their full potential, and I'm not sure that they truly ever will.
Well, let's go ahead and drop in and see if we can get some old Swifty fans in here some love, because that is also a Kansas City matchup. So we'll go with them versus the Bengals to kick things off. I am gonna love seeing a ton of Bucks here in the near future. I'm a huge Baker Mayfield fan, but let's see if the efficiency exists over there in a little bit as we will drop into this one. Fullvex and Hex. So it's actually great because I think this is the first week literally that there's been no Baltimore Ravens. That is huge, considering that we had all Ravens all the time. Burrow on the drop back pass and trying to get it over the top, but that one will hit the ground.
That is interesting. You mentioned the Ravens, and then just look at the bottom of our screen here for a moment. It's almost like they wanted to remind you, hey, we might not be being played, but we're still here in thoughts, I guess, as they take the logo spot. But it is going to be a punt over towards this Kansas City's Chiefs side. Their first possession. Let's see what they do.
All right. So, Chiefs, if no one remembers, I will remind you, utterly dominated against in the Super Bowl. It was a cathartic moment for us all. It was great. 40-6. That I'm not even going to let them have the real score, which was what 40-20, something like that. I don't know. 40-6. That's where the game ended for me. And this is definitely a team that knows how to score. And Pacheco in Madden, if he stayed healthy in real life, I have been proven off of Madden play that Pacheco is God. He just truly can work the ground.
When I was watching that Super Bowl, as I kept seeing more and more people who were clearly hate watching the Chiefs, like being excited that they were falling farther and farther behind, I couldn't help but think the script writers were being extremely cruel for the NFL and was expecting some crazy like last-second comeback. Did end up coming short, and you can't help but wonder if they would have had their full roster looking at players like Pacheco, if maybe at least it would have been a little bit tighter fought matchup.
I mean, I think you and I are very much in this full-on millennial, because the entire time I was like, come on, don't hurt me. Please, just continue to succeed. But we will also see this one be, wow, okay, they're bringing the fullback into this one, but they're going to give it straight up to him as Pirine. Look, I got to see him when he played for OU. Dude got, I think he got the rushing record for a single game at like 460 yards. Dude is a monster.
It's those NFL players are truly a different size. I think undervalued because you see them on TV, which one makes them look smaller, but two, because you see them next to a bunch of other guys. I remember coming to that realization as a kid. My dad did color guard for a Monday Night Football game once, and my dad's like 6'5", pretty big guy, stood next to the tunnel as all the players came out, made my dad look tiny. I was like, okay, yeah, them boys just built different.
Yeah, it's a monstrous sort of situation to see him actually. Oh, Rice will be catching that one right at the line to gain. Looks like they will give him credit for it, so they get another first down. So far, systematic efforts here for the Chiefs. And yeah, I whenever I was at OU, I got to see two linemen take up an entire hallway meant for like 10 people across. Dudes is huge.
Just really physical specimens for sure. Wide open across the middle. Unfortunately, not going to be able to find his mark. A very rare mistake from Mahomes.
Mahomes can't draw a flag from that one, so he'll have to deal with his mistakes on his own. Looks like they're going to go and they're going to call it out to a pass instead of the run, as they are getting pushed into the backfield, a familiar sight if you're at all an Eagles fan, but it's the Bengals that swallow them up this time around. It is 3rd and 10. They're at the 25, so they have a couple ways they can be able to navigate this, can still get a first down.
I feel like right now I'd be more concerned about just getting maybe a little bit more field position to make sure that field goal's in. Well, I mean, that's still a relatively long field goal from there. I think I'd be more focused on just making sure you get a couple of yards on this play. We do see on the screen they've got a couple of at least safer routes that will be going across the middle here. But they are being fine with taking some more time, understandably so. Does going to opt for the pass to Hopkins, who has room after the catch. However, doesn't quite find their way across the goal line. Let's see how the Bengals defense can stand.
Camera guy messing with me. I swore he got over, but I mean, you got Pacheco, you've got options, you've got Mahomes, who typically knows how to lead defenses by the nose, and if he really wants to just kind of naked bootleg as well, he can probably get this in. Will they go simply for the tush push? Well, they'll just get it. Oh my goodness. The dude comes up and lifts Mahomes, but he clearly got over the line. So that's going to be first score here for the Chiefs.
Well, they're able to get themselves the points. You feel like, well, that 7th point should be guaranteed, but we've already seen so far today that's not necessarily always the case. That one should find its way in the uprights. The question becomes, what's the flag about? It's a roughing the passer, and, well, they're just going to go ahead and take it on the other side.
Yep, got the kicker down, but they're going to still take the 7. Let's go out to the mainframe as we check over to our other game. I'm happy to see maybe some Packers, or not Packers, but some Buccaneers. And it looks like the Bucs are actually up first. So we're going to go to the other side of the ball and the other side of our mainframe here, as we'll start up again with Houston. So we saw how the run game really kind of dictated a different narrative in our previous block here, Q. Looks like we're going to see something similar, at least to start things off. And one-hand fish, he's kind of a daredevil at times. See what Wildcard can get out of this.
Let's see what can be had. I mean, you figure where this ball is at, it can still go either way, but it's already a good start to the offensive drive. That will secure the first down. Nice and easy one across the middle. Talk about not taking too many risks. Didn't look like one there.
One Hand Fish is currently, he is playing on the Bucks, so Wildcard is going to try and dissect them as best as they can. I do like that Wildcard has kind of shifted their way around a multi-set of teams. I think this is his third or fourth different team in Madden, trying to just find a way through what playbook he likes, what team he likes, so he will get at least a gain of 6. So keeping this manageable here in the first quarter.
Manageable. You got to find a way to make sure that you can continue. I feel like if you can find a way to really shut down, only allow 3 on this possession. Dean pushing their way up. Overcommits, though, allowed Stroud to get a relatively easy first down. And, well, they just continue trekking upfield.
That was a second longer in that pocket, and Stroud gets swallowed up on the outside where all of the blocking was occurring, and it looks like there was a defensive lineman reaching an arm out, but he was able to just get away from it and was nearly tracked out in the flat. So Stroud has some legs. He's got some speed. If you let him get out into wide open spaces, he can make you look silly. You got triple locked in to the right side of the line. Everyone empty backfield. Stroud going to try and go across the Mixon. Mixon will cut up, and he will shut up this defense as we're going to be tied up if a PAT comes through right following now.
And what a huge touchdown as well to be able to respond, and you feel like that. Again, the PAT should be all but guaranteed here. There it is, right through the upright, splitting those things. And yeah, 7 apiece on either side. This one could be another one of those barn burner sort of matchups here, Monkey Man.
I mean, you have a lot of weapons, admittedly, for both these teams. Both these teams ended up in kind of tough first rounders. I think actually Houston, if I do remember, they, you know what? I've got an extra screen. Let me check it out. They ended up with a solid first round, but then they ended up against the Chiefs, and they couldn't pull out the overall dub against them. And yes, okay, so they took out the Chargers, then they lost to the Chiefs. It was still tight though. It was 23-14. So with the Bucks, I mean, the Bucks have been trying to piecemeal things together ever since this was originally a squad or a total team that was made for Tom Brady and his retirement run. And I feel like Baker, as a very efficient QB, has been really able to kind of give them even more value year to year.
I was a huge believer in Baker, even originally during the draft. I always felt didn't get enough credit for just how successful they were in Cleveland because, well, before Baker, they weren't successful. After Baker, they haven't really been successful either. But has been given like a fresh breath of like a second life in Tampa. We've been seeing quite a bit of success. Yeah, maybe not quite the weaponry of old, but you do still have a decent receiving core. You still have some help in the backfield as well. I'm going to be excited to see how they do even this coming season.
He just needs a good line to keep him, off pressure. That's really been the kind of the difficulty. But when he gets it to the players, they start making plays. That's Otten that's able to get another big first down. And so definitely subscribing to the fact that this is going to be a fiery offensive flurry and matchup all the way down. They will go underneath center, but it's just to get Irving a chance to gain some momentum. He'll gain less than a pocket full, but that's how a wild card, or rather how One Hand Fish has been established in their early game.
Here we are moving into just past that second quarter start. It's more of a trek up the field here. In the middle of the field here, about the 45, it looks like going to continue opting to air things out. And, I mean, why not? You've got so many weapons. You've been finding this success here as well. Is going to make some quick adjustments as far as maybe some hot route changes. I always love seeing people who are comfortable making those sort of last-second changes at the line.
Woo. He threw it a little bit behind Godwin, which was actually a smart move because the down, I think it was the linebacker that was shadowing him, was running right across and in front of him. So taking a bit of speed off, forcing Godwin to have to come back to it, gave him that fresh set. So good looks. And again, they established this run by going under center, getting Irving a chance to gain some speed, and he'll gain 6 straight off the rip. Man. Okay, so far this campaign is working out right now for One Hand.
You know, it's been more of a slow burn on this trek up the field, hasn't it? I feel like we've been seeing a lot of quicker sort of drives thus far today. This one's been kind of a little nice mix of, let's go ahead and take the top off the defense every once in a while still also being very comfortable with the underneath game. They've been able to sprinkle in a little bit of running plays as well. And it's just really kept this defense off kilter. It's going to be now off to Otten, who gets another first down for the squad as they close in on that 30-yard line.
Okay. All right. Little by little, bit by bit. You know, we talked about offenses that like to get huge plays and massive chunk yards. Well, this one is just 7-7, and One Hand Fish is trying to keep Wildcard from having any extra offense later in this quarter. They've got to feel confident that they're going to be able to finish off this offensive roll, but I say that Irving, they'll be tackled for a loss.
Will be taken for a loss, and that is unfortunate here. It's also going to get that clock starting back up here as well, which is going to be something we're going to want to be keeping an eye on. Maybe not so much for this drive. There should be plenty of time for this drive, but the following drive before halftime is really what I'm going to be concerned about, especially depending on if we do see Tampa Bay able to put up 6. Because if you score a touchdown, you feel like you need one in response, and that's another good way to continue pushing up the field. That's a first down.
That's conditioning too, because you saw them audible over to having Irving take that outside gap from his left tackle. Everyone had been kind of lined up to showcase that they were going for a big passing play, and now on first down, where they've been getting Irving all kind of drummed up to go up center, they are going to be going to shotgun, and this is clearly a pass. So you have trips wide set. Mayfield gets swallowed. He's able to just barely get out of his hands before he's sacked.
Almost gets sacked, is able to avoid that. It did look like, though, for the defense, gets to the quarterback just in time. Otherwise, there was a player underneath streaking across from right to left who would have had some field in front of him and probably would have at least gotten them inside the 15, maybe even inside the 10. Second down here. It's a pass over the middle, and that gets picked, and that's huge for this Houston defense.
Coming up huge, telling them, that One Hand Fish is not going to get a free run to the end zone. While we turn things over, let's turn back to the mainframe, as that's a huge stop considering what that was looking like. Oh my goodness, hold up. So, all right, 14-2. We had a safety in this matchup. Let's drop into this game.
Let's go ahead and check it out and hang on board with the Cincinnati versus the Kansas City Ravens, apparently. As it is going to be Cincinnati that is on the offensive side. You mentioned they had the safety. I'm guessing probably right before this possession here. It's a pass over to the outside, and, well, that's going to be a pick. Tranquil going to get there. Nice little juke pass one, but they're already inside that red zone.
Gotta wonder if they're using the Baltimore playbook. You're allowed to have a team and then switch playbooks depending on how you want to roll, or maybe they just like the PFP, you know, just have the Ravens right there. So I did get to go to a Ravens v Bills game. I think it was week 4 or 5. Ravens, by the way, beat the snot out of the Bills when I was in Baltimore, and man, it's a whole different crowd there. Those Baltimoreans, they know how to, well, talk a lot.
That's a different crowd down there. Actually, back when we lived south of the Maryland-Pennsylvania line, wifey used to work down at the stadiums on Sundays, and I went out there once before COVID to help out, and those fans built different is all I'll say as far as that. But as far as in the game that we're talking here, you have the opportunity to extend, you almost say, to a 3-score game still, since it's only the 2 points for Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's such a obscure like point differential. You got that 12, which can kind of happen at times, especially off of the safety, though. It just makes it feel strange because you did have an extra chance to kind of get that possession to work, but with the way that we're currently seeing this, feels like it's inevitable that a minimum a field goal, but they're going to go down set. You got Piran and Pacheco to try and make this work. You give it right back to Piran. He's pretty much automatic for at minimum 3 yards, and with as short as that it was guaranteed to be first and goal.
Well, first and goal we do now go. It's on the 4-yard line. You get 4 cracks at it here as well. It feels like it's just a matter of when than if, but let's see if maybe, just maybe, well, I was going to say this defense can hold. That was quite a hole in the middle of the field, however. That's at least allows them to pick up 2.
You gotta start stuffing the box if you're the defense right now. I mean, fullbacks, they are trying to run up the score against Hex Viez, and now they're gonna stretch the field. They have Hunt. They have an option to give it to Piran if they want. It's a toss. And they get grabbed. You've had such success in the A gap. Why do you stretch it wide?
Yeah, it's a very big risk anytime you go towards the outside when you're so far down the field, because they're going to be stuffing the box. More than likely, eventually they find the read, someone's going to be able to break that edge. And yeah, you mentioned they found so much success in the middle of this line thus far. I don't know why you stray away from that. However, outside is open for Pacheco, and well, that's going to be 6.
Yep, and any good running back has the feet underneath them to make that one work, so easily done. Pacheco will get them up to just within a 3-touchdown lead. It's going to be 3 scores up here in all of a second. Looks like it should be solid. It'll be good to go. So full Vex, even though, we spoke earlier, they didn't have the game tape. It was Hex Viaz, and he's like, all right, you know what? I want to know. Should be able to make this rock. But this is a complete opposite side. The unknown unknown is now being known.
Definitely making a name for sure. And you wonder, I mean, is there enough time left on the board for how this game's pace has gone? We've definitely seen 19-point swings in the past, but when you talk about the fact that we're halfway through the second quarter, the offense really hasn't gotten much going for Cincinnati. This is going to be a huge possession here.
Got to see how this one works out. You got 2 minutes to go, so we'll stick with this one unless something catastrophic spins late term for Hex Viaz. So you got time, you have timeouts, and they're going to give it straight to Brown just to get it to the 2-minute warning, get yourself something manageable walking into your second down. But because of where that return was, you're just outside the 30, so there's still a lot of yard to go. See if they can be able to get this one way up top. Depends on what they want to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I kind of feel like you were in a situation where you were kind of in a point you just have to air it out. I feel like it's a wasted play there, and now you're in a second down position, and now all of a sudden you go to air it out further downfield. That's a huge turnover, and in a position where there's plenty of time, when not enough field, where you feel like maybe, just maybe, there's time for another touchdown here.
Yeah, this is starting to become full Vex's world, and Hex Viaz is just living in it, but it's not rent-free. It's very much high-paying rent, and it's a tough housing market for him. So another set of downs. Full Vex wants to make this score even less friendly for Hex. That's going to be wide open. And Pacheco, that's an open field tackle. That's the kind you want to see, and that becomes a 2nd and 13, so that's actually a loss to try and make this a little scooch back.
No timeout from either side. Not enough confidence as far as on the defensive side to say, hey, I can get the 3 and out. So they're not going to pump the brake just quite yet as far as the timeouts. Mahomes buying plenty of space, but such a deep drop back, not enough arm on it to get to the defender.
So as we go with full Vex, trying to we talk about needing to air things out, maybe need to go more into the passing game. I can see if you're like, all right, maybe I got my guaranteed thing. Depends on how many of those defenders you drag out from maybe the midfield or otherwise, trying to be able to get this one across the hash. We'll see how this one pans out, but you can't quite send it to the skies if you're getting pressured in your own pocket.
Is this the Mahomes that we're used to seeing, just kind of dropping straight back, not working the sides of the pockets, not trying to swing outside to buy some time? Definitely unfortunate for this Kansas City squad on that last possession. I mean, yeah, you've got the lead, but it feels like that was a point where you could really sort of put the boot on the neck of the opposition.
Very true. So, wasted a moment and possibly something that can echo for later. Unfortunately, you keep trying to cross it over, and their defense in the middle of the field is just too sound.
The defense stepping up huge and getting one more crack at it before halftime will be this Chiefs offense. This time at the 26-yard line. Feels like points should be inevitable, but who knows? Maybe, just maybe Cincinnati can get this thing back.
See how this continues to grind out. They're going to give it over to P. Ryan again. Power ground game, and you know what? Understood. Fair. Just make as much of this clock disappear as possible, and if you can't guarantee a score, well, get something of a field goal at least lined up, and we can start thinking about it. Proving that apparently if your defense wakes up, you're guaranteed somewhere in the realm of 8 downs. So Mahomes with an empty backfield. He's going to toss it up to Kelsey, and Kelsey is going to be getting some sweet singing as they're able to find the end zone.
That's a big touchdown. You continue to add to your lead. And, well, now at this point, it's not quite a 4-score game because of that 2 points. but pretty darn near close to it. I was actually going to say they're at a benefit of even a field goal would still make that a 3-touchdown game, but they just continue to find success on the offensive side.
Oh, but a shanked PAT. So you're going to be up 25, and we're going to be up going into the mainframe. So let's slot on back as Fullvex continues to make life difficult here for Hex. So we just hit halftime, and we'll be going into the third quarter. So let's rock it. Well, actually, so as we kind of look at this, it's 22-7, it's 27-2. Not every week, not every match is going to be as close. Definitely feels like there is kind of swings of momentum occurring, mostly one directional right now.
Yeah, definitely for both teams here. Houston is going to be getting that ball after halftime as well. So, well, that does mean that they have an opportunity to continue to extend on that lead, be able to use that momentum to their favor here. Meanwhile, when you talk about for this Bengals squad on the opposite side, who's at a loss over on the left side screen, this is their last chance beforehand.
Well, also, we'll be making sure to correct. I may have been calling whichever one or the other. I've been looking at player icons, so making sure that you guys know which team they'll have. Regardless, you know what teams are out there. So let's go ahead and jump in here for the Bucks and for the Texans. That one's a little bit closer. The other one's gonna be heading towards halftime here in just a moment. So we'll jump into match number 2. And I've seen this Houston squad. I'm starting to become a bit of a believer. I was a little bit of a doubter before because I didn't have the scouting report with Stroud, but that entire pocket became more of a thin napkin as it was squeezed shut. And Stroud, he got up wobbly.
And got up a little gingerly there. Let's see if he continues to stick around for these following plays here. But they are at least back in the backfield for now. As far as for this Tampa Bay squad, you start half number 2 on the defensive side. You need to find a stop. Dean coming up from way downfield. He's a receiver open way in the opposite side. And, well, that's going to be an easy first down completion.
Brother, those are the most frustrating plays that just ever happen. You think you've got Stroud run out, everything is taking forever, but then because the defensive coverage doesn't know or cannot keep track of the receivers for that long, he just finds a pocket and it's sunk right into it. Great looks, great find. They've done it twice, and now driving towards the possibility of another one. We're inside the red zone.
Already in the red zone. You feel like if they score here, that puts them up, what, 22 or 21 minus the PAT or 2-point conversion, whatever it is that you end up going for. You're cruising fine. That's a big rush into the backfield, though, and that sack could very well move them out of field goal range unless they are able to pick up anything in these following 2 plays.
Yeah, it's 2nd and 20. Feels like there's still plenty of time with the way they've picked up these last couple of big plays and chunks. They'll take their sweet time. Should be able to at least kind of round it out. They have cleared the empty backfield. Stroud again. He's got some speed and wheels underneath him. This is great coverage. Oh, wow. My goodness. Tip drill. That's exactly why it's there. And he didn't stay down, so he's going to run it out. Ends up with less than what he would have gotten if he's just stayed in the end zone. Massive play on the coverage.
Wanted the heroics, is why you leave the end zone there, but I definitely feel like the safer option would have just been to take the 20. Felt the adrenaline rush, I do suppose, after finding the pick in the end zone. So now you do have that opportunity to fight your way back into things. You figure you get yourself a touchdown. Even if you don't go for the 2-point conversion, you can still leave that on the table for that next possession. But it feels like you need 6 here on this possession, Monkey Man.
Definitely need it, and you're not going to get that straight off the ground. They definitely had a pattern by which they were trying to get some of this in total game established. You go under center, you get Irving wrapped up, and then you play back in a shotgun, and you get Mayfield some safe distance to try and get this working. They only gained 2. Still, though, makes it at least for slightly more manageable field. Mayfield is left on an island by himself, and that is exactly what happens if he can't get out of his hands quick enough. He'll be drilled, but he at least got it off, as it will be 3rd and 8.
This Texans defense continues to get plenty of penetration there in the front line, really making Baker Mayfield's job harder than it needs to be. Because we've been seeing sometimes where if you had just another moment or two, the play is developing. Tough call to throw that there towards the middle. Unfortunately, the defensive line gets in the way. And, well, now it's 4th and 8.
4th and 8, and yeah, we're going to have a punting situation. So another kick out, and I feel like at this point, we've seen how the defense can show up late term. Oh, and this Texans offense and Texans overall, going to have to give them a lot more value and a lot more looks when we go into later weeks. You wanna kick out to the mainframe again? See it was 2 points and 27-2. It's another big pickup. Oh my goodness. Open field tackle. Feels like we have one key player that's established himself and another one that's just trying to get an identity on the field.
Yeah, both games too as well. It's the team that has the lead that currently has the possession. And on that right side box, it does look like Houston going to open things wide up. So it does look like they're cruising to more points. Let's go ahead and tune into this left game over here for Kansas City versus Cincinnati and see if Kansas City can find themselves some more success on the offensive side as well.
Fullvex and Hex throwing hands right now for the Carolina region. You're going to see another handoff over to Pacheco, and Pacheco can begin to burn time, but he's also burning negative yards. That's happened a lot more often, and yet it doesn't really matter because they have so many downfield weapons, and Pacheco's also part of that package. He has solid hands and is really just solid route running, and the speed. Pacheco really just kind of an all-around character to have to deal with, and oh my goodness, I love actually this play because they send twins. It's a mirrored composition. You send him outright, it clears the middle, but because he's being pressured back, can't get it to anyone.
I keep seeing this we keep seeing fullbacks dropping so far back into the pocket here, which I feel like has put them in disadvantages a couple of times, where it feels like if you were just able to kind of sit more in that more traditional pocket, you might have been able to step up and find the shot or find those passes up the field. Just hasn't quite been able to do that here. Part of that has been because of the pressure, and this time around the pressure rushes the throw. It's going to be a pick. Is that potentially 6? I think if you don't spin, I think you just win the foot race.
Yeah, some of those extra kind of movements and plays, I feel like there's just a sprint button that you kind of are able to get going down. But either way, the foot race ends up short of the 10. Regardless, a much-needed defensive effort. Brown is going to be out in open flats, and because of, he had to travel basically 20 yards to gain nothing. So they have this middle of the third quarter under lock, but not under wraps. Look how close this defense just squeezed up, trying to get some more pressure onto them, and they go for the same exact play and will lose a yard.
Now it's 3rd down, and Cincinnati starting to run out of time, not just on this drive, but when we talk about the overall as well. We're about to be at that 2-minute marks left in this third quarter. You got to start moving with a little bit more sense of urgency. These little dink and dunk plays just ain't going to cut it.
It's out to the flats 3 times in a row. You're 4th and 8. Gesicki is unable to come up with a change, and it feels like the same. It's the definition of insanity. You're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So as they stand up for a goal line stand, it's not even at that goal marker. You still have 8. You can get a fresh set of downs if possible. They'll be going for a field goal. Just want 3. No, it's a fake. Oh my goodness, McPherson, they sniffed it out. It was never going to get by the Chiefs.
And that's part of the reason why you go with that goal line defense as opposed to your special teams. A little bit more equipped for a fake, as they were able to sniff that thing on out. And, well, now you've got the possession once more. I feel like now is when you start opting for more of those running plays, but I guess with the success that they have been finding in the passing game, they're just going to go ahead and continue chucking it up the field.
Why not? Yep. Yeah, they will burn through this quarter, and not having that 5 points, it kind of shapes a different outcome right now. So, man. Such good just game efficiency, and even when things get the tiniest bit tricky, play your game. Do not go crazy with it, and just find your weapons. Rice will dagger between 2 Bengals, and the Chiefs, I feel like, through this third quarter are in complete control.
They have been in complete control. They've got both hands on the steering wheel, and they continue to just seem to be living life in the fast lane. That is for sure. They're not worried about running the ball. They're like, you know what? Let's keep passing this thing. Let's keep airing it out. And until you find a way to stop it, we'll just continue trekking up the field.
So we're going to get another fresh set. Mahomes is going to go to the line. We're going to have 45 seconds to go, and they can pretty much run anything that they want to. You got P. Ryan ready to do some extra blocking if you can. And in fact, no, he's going to get a direct handoff. So short line to gain here at 3rd and 3. And, you know, this continued march feels like a death march here for the Bengals is they just bringing it up the middle. This is where all their success has been. You don't need to stretch this field wide. Just kind of stay honest. They will audible one more time over to a passing play. It feels like they're just kind of looking at every option possible. What do they have in the back pocket? I guess kind of run through the entire gambit, and they got a man wide open in Kelsey.
Had to look for exactly what felt right for that moment, and well, there it is. The first down onto the board. And I was going to say for Cincinnati, this is where they really needed to hold the line because you felt like you were just on the fringe of that field goal range, but now you're just outside of the red zone here, 5 yards shy. One more pass, It's going to be Pacheco in the open field, and well, we're now officially in past that 20-yard line.
Also, as a correction, so the Kansas City Chiefs, they are actually being played by Hex Viaz. So actually showcasing that their experience from their first week of Players League has definitely resonated, and Fullvex is receiving the full brunt of it. So the unknown apparently was very well known as they've been trying to navigate through what's kind of a weaker Bengals situation. Hex Viaz trying to put this one out of reach if they can, as they continue to just kind of chalk up and stack up some points. This one, it's a fourth quarter that desperately needs a stop. And look at them. This is going to be an all-in dive, but with that audible out, looks like they're going to try and take advantage of this goal line defense.
Oh, there's the fake on the handoff. However, I was going to say there's everyone covered in the passing game, but somehow, some way, it still finds its way across the goal line, and it's now 33, should be 34-2 here in just a moment.
Well, wow. You have P. Ryan beat one man by a single step, and it plays out to being beaten down the ladder 15 to just secure yet another score. Huge scenes in favor of Hex. Oh, they go for the fake. They're going to get swallowed up. That's one of those that you just do for funsies. Let's head out to the mainframe as this one is getting well out of hand. It's still within reason and rhyme to maybe do some more with it. On the other side of things, about the same. So, as another correction to this one hand fish is, in fact, they chose the Texans, showcasing that 2-2 record might be going positive here in a moment.
I mean, unless there's anything short of a miracle here, yeah, this one should be going to one-hand fish for sure. I mean, they've got the possession here as well in that right box, which we're going to be tuning into, and that's a big pass down up the field. Can't quite make the completion.
All right, so, I mean, it's do or die for both of our currently in the negatives players, and I mean, if you're one-hand fish, you just got to keep control. The efficiency of Mayfield has been made by good decisions, and that one right in the middle of double coverage was not. Ward will come up big, and at 30-7, it becomes just a roller coaster the other way.
And you have to imagine now after that pick, we will be seeing Houston opt to go for more of that clock burning out sort of approach. Wouldn't be surprised to see him at least start off with 2, maybe even 3 runs here and put Tampa Bay into a position where you have to start looking towards those timeouts and wondering where you use them.
Do you think that the actual Texans going into next season are going to weaponize Stroud much the same way that we've seen? We've seen a lot of kind of naked bootleg, having Stroud roll, and then he kind of just picks up what he can. Feels like there's a lot of speed to be able to really work with and make this a dangerous team going into next season. Hold that thought, because it's even more dangerous when you pick up 6 with a big bomb like that.
Well, I mean, at least you're giving up more time over to the opposition. Maybe the silver lining if you are the Bucs here. But to read back to your next question, Honestly, it's so hard to tell. I always feel like these rushing quarterbacks, once you start getting more tape, can be put in a very awkward spot. I also feel like I was kind of a disbeliever in Lamar Jackson in that sense, and well, I was proved quite wrong on that one. So maybe we'll wait and see, I suppose.
I think what we've seen, kind of one trick ponies type stuff. You think about to Colin Kaepernick, you think to RG3, and you're like, oh, that guy, he's a QB, he gonna get injured.
Yeah.
Yep, no, there's no way, there's not a chance. And then sometimes it did happen, and sometimes it ends up just kind of being like, all right, we've completely read your gimmick and your novelty, so. To that end, trying to step up into the pocket, trying to get anything going, they at least will toss it out. But yeah, as long as it's not just your primary. And the good part of what we actually saw with Lamar Jackson is that he had great coaching that came along with it. They just need him to settle down because the dude had power and speed to spare.
Remember, they were looking at him to potentially change positions. It wasn't just because they didn't disbelieve in his arm. It's because they did believe in his athleticism. You know what I mean? So as far as this game here for Tampa Bay, you're running out of times. Third down feels like this is where you start to get not only big first downs, you got to start getting big plays that result in points on the scoreboard. Just under 4 minutes. That's a pick.
Oh.
Yes, indeed it is. Possession back to this Houston squad. And at this point, they score one more time. That's a mercy rule.
That'll be a tough one to have to absorb all the way in. So we'll stick with this one for the moment because this one could end up ticking away. So wild card 0-4, one hand fish 2-2. Both these players have been through the gambit when it comes to the Green Bay region and showcasing exactly how tough the competition in totality has really been. Stroud with a drop back, lots of time forever. Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Can they even get it out of his hands? No, he's got iron grip. That'll put him up to 42.
That is it there. You see the math at the top, 42 minus 7. That's the 35 as far as for the mercy rule. Big shout out to One Hand Fish to being able to walk away with the dub. You mentioned pushing themselves over that 500 mark.
All right, so that means we got one match left to go. Congratulations to our one-hand mastermind. I heard he gives the strongest of high fives. Don't quote me on that, but maybe do. I can't wait to shake his hand if we end up seeing him over in Green Bay. For the time being, though, this one seems to be well in hand by the 1-0 prankster, as Hex is going to drop all the way back. That's a well, I thought that was a fumble. Either way, it was airborne for a hot second, as much as Mahomes was.
I was doubting the deeper dropbacks earlier, and I still kind of question it there, but it's been working for him thus far within the game. I mean, you're up 31, and they also find themselves in a similar situation to that last matchup we just had, where if you're able to score on this possession, that is all said and done. It's a pass over the middle, however, it does get picked, and Cincinnati is going to take possession on the 27-yard line.
All right, so in Madden, there's still a realistic, maybe not realistic, there is a percentage chance exists for the totality of a comeback. However, it is tough. You're facing the Chiefs. Chiefs are obviously solid. Bengals have been beat up. What can Burrow do here? He's going to toss it yard. Oh, luckily for them, it just hits the grass.
You're able to avoid handing over the points there this time around. Or as far as seeing that into the wrong hands as well. Let's see if they can potentially find a way to continue stacking a little bit of yardage, because you got to find a way up the field. It's part of the reason we're seeing them go for that no huddle here. Back to the...
Did he...
Purpose?
He just threw it up to the ground. Okay. That's another one of those plays of all time. I'm just going to bring it up because no one's asked me, but I'm going to throw my opinion. These are my least favorite Bengal uniforms.
Agreed.
Deal or... Yeah, okay, I was about to say deal or no deal. Yeah. Okay.
Even when it's not... they're awful in the snow, but even just in the green. I am not a fan. It just doesn't resonate Bengals. It doesn't resonate Cincinnati to me. But yeah, I guess to each their own.
Yeah, I mean, I get the white tiger thing. That's kind of neat, but the execution just wasn't exactly what I thought it would be. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hater. I have loved the Bengals, but just mostly because I pity them and I want them to find success. Oh my goodness, Pacheco's so strong. Able to rip away from the first tackle. He still lose one. And, well, this one's starting to feel like it's a little bit more signed, sealed, and delivered. 2 minutes to go. And they're still working this clock. Just feels like they're not wanting to let go of the possibility. Also, you know what? Get your reps in. Play the game. You guys still have several weeks of Players League to go, so why not?
Keep continuing to play the game, continuing to try and figure out what works best for you. And also, this is kind of where you get to play with house money, so to speak. If the result is already all but guaranteed, maybe you try working on a different package than you're normally used to, whether it's on the defensive side or especially, like, let's say when Cincinnati gets this ball back, if you feel like your passing game has not been very successful, maybe you try a new trick or two up your sleeve.
I like that you say win, because the defense has shown up a time or two, maybe at the ambitiousness of the Chiefs, seeing if that ends up with a chance, as they will kind of toss them around. Well, one of the few things that Mahomes probably wishes is that there's a few more yellow napkins tossed out onto the table. This is all streaks, by the way. So if we get a score here, not at all surprised. They're trying to just open up the gambit, but will they have enough time? They bonk it off the head and hand of one. So this will turn over on downs. So, hey, Bengals do get another try.
Let's see if the Bengals going to be able to do some magic with it. They do already have this thing inside of the red zone, so that's going to be a good place to start. However, one pass, one pick, it's back into the hands of the Chiefs.
Always with an extra try. One possession of 4 becomes 8, becomes 12, and the Bengals, unfortunately, have not been able to find their times tables to do something similar. So this one will go the right way in favor of the Chiefs. It has been going their way, and Q, we see games, it doesn't matter the esport title or the sport in general, sometimes it gets away from you. So you have to take with this with a grain of salt, which is totally understandable, but also with the ability to kind of learn, like, all right, I was completely shut down. I would think, do you stick with the Bengals if you're really a big fan? Do you want to shift around and see, just other teams to kind of get into?
Yeah, I feel like, this matchup generally in real life doesn't really play out in favor for the Bengals very often, so maybe you could potentially talk about a matchup deal. It could also just be a situation where you're just not quite on your game. I'm not huge on the Bengals personally, but I do feel like if you have a decent eye for the passing game, you do have plenty of weapons at your disposal. So, I understand it,
Yeah, that's very true. And it's not like they don't have at least a few weapons to work with. If you're trying to just kind of go with what's your favorite, it exists. You can also change up the playbook and see what happens. We got a minute to go before this entire clock is, in fact, run out. If anyone takes a time out, I will be slightly cross, but mostly with my eyes. It's only because this one is definitely in the hands of out of reach. They're going to have Pacheco at least go through a few separate options. And so for the remaining portion of this one, Hex, I feel like he's going to be enjoying a 2-0 position. They're going to toss this one to Pacheco, and the flatty will make a move around one. He'll be stood up by the other. How in the world did he get through that?
Somehow squeezes past 2 and just tiptoes up the sideline enough to be able to get the first down as well. And, at least forced out of bounds, so it does stop the timer if you're Cincinnati, but I don't see any sort of miracle of being able to come back at this point with less than a minute in play. Maybe would have preferred to have them down in play. Will be the case this time around, and I'm surely seeing more time run on the clock.
They have less time on the play clock than they do, or no, wait, they have more time on the play clock than they do on the actual timer. So this one can be burned, but these kids love to play their Madden. So I don't think we see anything stopping here short. A chaotic pile. All right, so as they go through the rest of this behooves Hex to have at least an advantage here in the Carolina region. They will be undefeated walking into week number 5. A few makeup games to have to deal with, as well as to go along with all the STEM portion that's been happening here. Pacheco will get another reception. Do they end up stepping out? Yes, they will. So we'll be at 4th and inches with no, it's a running clock. So No, they will chill for a second. Okay, all right. So either way, efficiently well done. Hex, I had some questions to see if they would be just as good this week, considering that Fulvex was kind of a, just a wild card to say of difference, but you're able to kind of navigate this really well.
Definitely able to handle it very well. I'm trying to remember back to our pregame stats as well. Didn't Hexvias shut out their last opponent?
I believe they did. So they're yeah.
In 2 games, you've allowed only 2 points. Meanwhile, they've found plenty of success on the offensive side of the ball as well. Able to air things out here at the end and move past that 35-point marker.
Fantastic. Just, you know what? You know when you have your game, and you got your game right here. 39-2. That defense, that offense, that player in Hex Viaz at a T Winged Andrews looking dangerous. Everyone in the Green Bay region better watch out. There's some big weapons that are developing out there, but that does end our Madden sesh. Thank you guys for coming with us. Players League obviously has been posting up some fantastic talents through both of our blocks. We were able to get some fantastic wins. It was for Colin, Light B, and Ghost, all improving in the winners column. The one you just got to witness was Hex, as well as One Hand Fish, bringing the firepower. Who's, in terms of teams, in terms of players, who's maybe your favorites? Who's got your interest working into week number 5?
Well, I mean, I think that the sheer dominance we just saw from Hexvias has to have them at the top of most people's lists, especially in that Carolina region. I think that's the standout for me today.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to be looking at Colin. I love the way that we got to see that first look hit there with the Texans, and apparently that resonated with some other players as well. So I want to see if they continue to find some success. But you know what? That is it for what we have today. So I want to thank everyone for coming out and seeing some awesome players, some awesome students, some awesome folks, and of course, it could not be done without the awesome partnership here with Stay Plugged In, as well as Brightspeed. Both of them bringing some fantastic flavor and support to the Players League. But there's also, another call to some more activity and events and action that we want you to be able to get involved in, as it will be the Formula STEM. How about you guys are able to come on down? The first ever Formula STEM Esports Cup presented by Brightspeed Fiber Internet is just around the corner. It's on the 25th. That's next Tuesday. You can compete in the F124 with weekly qualifiers, an 8-week season, and a championship event, racing for $5,000 in prizes and weekly rewards. You can learn about job opportunities that exist in the world of racing and esports. The season literally kicks off the first day of spring tomorrow. You'll see all of it happening next week as well on the 25th. So open registration for high school students across North America is open right now. You got to go to racing.staypluggedin.com and join the starting grid today. I need to know, Q, are you a fan of fast cars? Do you get into all the racing?
So it is a actually guilty pleasure of mine. I don't indulge in it very often. I actually have found it to be a guilty pleasure of mine. I used to work in the quick lube industry. I worked for Valvoline back in the day, so I've actually been out to like their main campus and stuff, seen some of that side of things as far as for Valvoline too. Fast cars, loud engines, burning rubber, sign me up.
Hey, you know what? We cannot ask for more. That is awesome. And also, Q, thank you so much for being our special guest. Barrelite had to go hang out with the fam for some awesome birthdays. And you know what? You've been an awesome fan that we worked together before. Glad to be able to have you here tonight, man. It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to be on the desk with you, my friend. And I was kind of joking around with Bear. He and I have been in the same circles for a while. Finally got to chat with one another. Finally got to hang out with you guys over here at Stay Plugged In. It was an absolute blast. I appreciate you guys for letting me come along for the ride.
Of course, it was so fun to be able to have you. And of course, we love having you guys out there. Remember, this Friday, 5:15 p.m. Eastern, if you are any other time zone, just -1, -2, -3. But that's when we have a STEM stream going down. You can catch it here at Stay Plugged In on YouTube and on Twitch. Make sure to follow both of those channels. Check them out on the socials and be able to see all the awesome action here for Players League as well as the STEM competitions. But for tonight, that is it. Shout out over to Blasky, who is our amazing producer, putting our faces in your spaces. But for just tonight, I'm Hail Monkey Man. That is good old yo boy Q. And you've been pretty darn awesome. And we'll see you next time.